Greetings from Boston. Djokovic wins in Cincinnati and gets the first ever Golden Masters in history. Meanwhile, Federer has major problems, and the big question is, what happened to Roger? I want to talk about this match. I want to break it down to give you the conclusion. I don't think really much happened in this match. It started and it ended, but there really wasn't anything that happened that's worthy of a lot of commentary in between. Well, we'll figure out a few things to say here at Tennis Talk Daily. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Let's talk tennis. The statistics from this match paint a very clear picture. Djokovic played much better and much more consistently than Roger Federer. Djokovic was serving solid and in fact was winning close to 80% of his second serve points. But it was, as always, in the return game where Djokovic worked in mysterious ways to come up with this win. Well, in response to Federer's first serves, Djokovic was winning 33% of the points. But the really impressive number here is the second serve returning percentage. Djokovic won over half of the points on Roger's second serve. Meanwhile, Djokovic was driving Federer to play a lot more points during his service games than Djokovic had to. Federer played 77 points on his own serve compared to Djokovic's 53 points. Djokovic had 6 break points on the mighty Federer's serve and broke Federer 3 times. Well, when he broke Federer the second time, folks, all bets were off. Remember, Federer was on a streak. He went 100 consecutive games that he held on serve in Cincinnati, and Novak Djokovic stopped him. What was happening here? What went wrong? Well, on the surface, Roger Federer was just making a lot of errors, folks. He just was not playing well. I'm not sure there's anything permanently wrong here on the one hand. You could argue he was just having a bad day. It certainly has happened at various times over the course of the past 8 years. Other people think that it's Federer's age that is starting to have a real effect on him. I think we started to see this essentially at Indian Wells, and it has continued ever since. There is a pattern. Federer is not performing in the finals, folks. He is not basically delivering when it matters. In retrospect, I could probably look back on this week and see little signs, little red flags with respect to Federer's game, but I was kind of confident based on the Wawrinka match, particularly because Federer really turned it on in the final moments and was able to protect serve very well in that match. Well, if Federer had played as well against Djokovic as he did against Wawrinka, I think this would have been a different outcome altogether. Djokovic did not have to do much here, folks. I think he decided at a pretty early point in this match that all he essentially needed to do was get the ball back in play. There were some more offensive points by Djokovic, I understand that, but in general, this match was won based on getting the ball back in play. Djokovic did this splendidly. He is a defensive machine. He will just not stop. Federer, on a couple of occasions, just couldn't put balls away against Djokovic. He somehow retrieves everything. So that is very commendable for Novak Djokovic. But I still maintain it was just not a very interesting match, and I further maintain that Djokovic's style of play generally is not very interesting. Certainly not imaginative. It's very workmanlike. He just wears people down. He is the ultimate wall. Well, having watched Novak Djokovic, I actually miss Rafael Nadal. I prefer Nadal's style of play to Novak Djokovic's in the end. But with respect to the GOAT debate, does this match have significance? And I think Arguably it does. Certainly the people who believe that Djokovic is the better player than Federer. For example, Richard Krajicek believes that Djokovic is a more complete player than Federer and believes that the reason why Federer did so well in 2017 is in part because Djokovic was not around. Federer was unbreakable in Cincinnati, folks, but you know what? He just broke down. And in terms of why did Federer break down like this? Why did he have such a bad day? I don't think we can blame it on anything permanently wrong with the man. Sure, there's a little bit of age taking its toll, but he just had a bad day. Bad days have happened before. They will happen again. I like Federer in the U.S. Open. I think he can win the U.S. Open, but if he doesn't win the U.S. Open, let's enjoy watching him play. I think we got some great competitors that are on the tour now. I think Roger has a lot on his hands, but I believe personally it's not about age. I believe it's about his mental game, and something was off. There were a few comments about his coach, Ivan Lubicic, not being there and not being present, I think, this week generally, or last week generally. Well, I'm not sure if that signals a problem, but what I can say is that Federer just had a bad day at the office. He realizes it. He recognizes very well what happened. But I don't want to undermine Djokovic's achievement, folks. I think Novak Djokovic is a tremendous athlete, and he holds some of the most impressive records in the history of the sport. What he did last night was basically workmanlike. It wasn't anything special. Again, this match began and ended, but nothing really happened in between. There were a couple of flashes of brilliance from Djokovic that you point to and say, wow, what an amazing player. But mostly, this was Djokovic being the wall. This was Djokovic keeping the ball in play, which was a smart strategy against Federer, because Djokovic had a sniff of just what Federer was up to pretty early in the match when he was able to create a couple of break points in the opening game. Well, he understood what was happening at that point, and he played the right match. So I suppose that was smart. He's got the trophy. Federer will be back. He's not quite done yet, folks. He will get 99. I was joking around on Twitter that he might have to play some 250s and 500s. Maybe he will have to do that. He should do that. I just want to watch the man play. I have faith that he can come back and win a few more very significant tournaments. So that's about it for now. Drop a comment. I want to know your views. I hope everyone is well. Bye-bye.